Hi guys, welcome to this very first live Q&A. My name is Kinga David, Wellness in Mind, founder of Wellness in Mind. And today is an opportunity for you to ask me questions about things in life that you're struggling with. That's basically it. So if you wonder what you can do about feeling depressed, or how to manage stress, what the morning ritual is all about, all kinds of things you can ask me today on this live Q&A. So before anyone comes up here, because I can see how many people are on. In the meantime, I'm going to talk to you about burnout and burnout prevention. And burnout is a really extensive topic, and I can talk about burnout for hours and hours on end because, I'm kind of an expert in this area. So today I'm going to focus just on, what it actually is and what you can do, how you can recognize that you're, heading downhill, as it were. So a burnout, there are several definitions of it, but most people think that a burnout has only to do something with work, stress at work. And that isn't necessarily so, because yes, most people that experience a burnout do experience it at work. But most of the time, there are also huge life events and personal stresses in your personal life. So there's a lot of things going on at the same time. But it is also possible to have a burnout that's just related to stress at work. So what do you feel when you are stressed and burned out or headed that way? What people most of the time experience is trouble sleeping. They feel tired and exhausted. They get a little bit cynical about their work. It's, it doesn't matter anymore. They can't find their passion anymore, even if they like their jobs. They have trouble concentrating. And often they have physical symptoms, pain in the neck and the shoulders. They experience, having the flu several times a year. So, because what stress does, it lowers your immune system. So it's logical for people to fall ill many times a year, right? So those are kind of the most common signals of your body that something has to be done. But what do people under stress do? They go in a survival mode. So they tend to eliminate all the fun stuff. They stop working out. They stop meeting with friends because they don't have the time. They are too tired. And everything they do is about, just functioning properly. The kids have to go to school. Everything at the home has to be taken care of. And at work, they try harder and harder. They do their best to, be on top of their game. So the stress only increases and they become more and more tired until the moment that their body just shuts down. And that's a proper burnout. Your body just says, stop. It's up till here and I can't do this anymore. So it's really important to prevent, obviously, to, come at that point. But for most of us, most people that come to see me already, have a burnout, already have fallen ill, already, had to take some time off work. And what I hear from my clients is that for years, and certainly for months, they felt that something was wrong. They felt the symptoms, but they ignored them. They chose, obviously not intentionally, but they chose to, step up and do more and more, and perfectionism and, loyalty comes in and responsibility kicks in. So they kept going and going and going and going and ignored all the signals that their body was sending them. They ignored everything that the people around them were telling them, because the people around you see on your face, in your behavior, that you're cranky, and with the littlest thing you become very angry, right? So the people around you probably already noticed that something is not quite right, but you chose, or the people that I coach chose to ignore that. And then when I ask them, they recollect what's been going on for the last months, and they tell me that they could have seen it coming. But a burnout is such a great lesson. It's a really hard one, but it's a really good teacher. So we often just start thinking about those things when it's already too late. So that's why I'm doing this video and talking about this stuff. So when you find yourself in such a place that you're running around, the adrenaline is up high, you are exhausted, you sleep through the weekend just to be able to go to work on Monday, listen up. Because what most of my clients tell me is that they knew they were headed for a burnout, and that they set boundaries. They actually told their manager, spoke to their superiors and colleagues about this problem. They told their manager, it's too much, I can't handle it anymore, I need some help. And then when I ask them, what happened with your complaint really? They say, nothing or not enough. And what those people then did was, again, more and more and more. They tried harder, they did more. So this is really important, but because setting boundaries without them being followed through with action is an absolute waste of time. Because if you set your boundaries, you tell the manager, I cannot do this anymore at this rate, or the stress levels are too high, or whatever. If you tell them, I cannot do this anymore, and I applaud you for that if you recognize it and are able to communicate that. But if you tell them, I cannot go any further, something has to change, and then nothing changes, and you go on, guess what kind of message you're sending that manager? You say you can't go on, but you do it anyway. So how bad is it? So you need to be consistent. If you're setting your boundaries, you are the one who has to follow through on them. It's your job to take good care of yourself, and your boundaries are your business, not of your manager. It's not their job to take great care of you. I know you may disagree, but ultimately, it's your responsibility to take care of your health. It's about you, it's your life. So if you say, I cannot do this anymore, act on it. Act on it. And then people tell me, I can't do that because I feel responsible. I feel guilty because, at work, everybody is stressed out and there's a reorganization going on. And what will they do without me? I cannot leave them behind, And so then I ask them, we can't predict the future, but if you're, already feeling exhausted and you can't concentrate and you're tired beyond repair, right? You already know that the next step, maybe in a couple of months, maybe in a year, but the next step will be that you can't go on anymore. Your body will just shut down and say stop. So you will be forced by your body eventually, after, crossing your boundaries a little more, to stop anyway and to call in sick anyway. So if you know that already now, And you know it's inevitable. If you keep going at this rate, you know it's inevitable that you'll get sick, you'll get a burnout. Why not choose consciously to take a step back now? So that is a big question I want to ask you, because it's such a shame that people go so far over their boundaries that they have to recover physically from the burnout for much longer than necessary. And yes, it is a great teacher, it's a great lesson, but as with all diseases, it's better to prevent it, right? And we not always can, but these are some signals and some points I want to give you that can really help you. And you have to imagine, I am an expert on burnout, not only because I've worked with clients who experience burnout for years now. I've been through one myself. So I know exactly how it feels. It's an individual process, but I do know how it feels for me. And I know it's awful. And let me tell you, I was working full-time as a psychologist at the time. So can a psychologist get a burnout? Yes, of course, because we are all about, taking care of others and not so kind towards ourselves, right? So I was working as a psychologist, and I was teaching people how to deal with stress. And I was doing relaxation exercises with them. And I did them together with them. They didn't know about it, but as I did a breathing exercise, I did it myself as well because I needed it. I had panic attacks at that time. So while having panic attacks, I was teaching other people how to take care of themselves and how to relax and how to cope with stress better. Can you imagine that? So I went so far over my boundaries that my body finally said stop. And I was somebody who, was overly ambitious. I was always on the run, always doing things, and not for me, but for others, right? And I wasn't able to even sit still for 2 minutes. I was always doing something. And through that burnout, I learned the value of doing nothing. And I really had to suffer through it to learn it. And there's a great story about how my cat Tara eventually taught me how to do this. You can read it on one of my blog posts on my site. So she taught me to sit still for more than 2 minutes because she wanted me to pet her. She wanted me to sit with her for a while. So I hope this helps you in some way. I hope you recognize the signals if you are in that place and seek help, because there is something to be done about it. If you want my help, please contact me. If you have any questions, please post them underneath the video. And if you think that somebody might benefit from this information, please share it. I'd be greatly appreciative of that. So if there are no questions at this point, I can't see any questions right now. I'm going to stop for today. It's been about 15 minutes of teaching, of me talking, and I love to hear myself talk, but it's been enough for today. So I'm going to enjoy my wellness cup of tea. I don't know if you see that, but it's wellness in mind. Yeah. So my name is Kinga de Wit. I'm a psychologist and holistic wellness coach, and I love helping people with all kinds of struggles, and burnout and stress and prevention and treatment thereof are my specialties and really my passion, because I love freedom. For me, that's the most important thing. And obviously, not everyone can be an entrepreneur, and that's not something I want to promote, But when you're in a job, when you're struggling, when you're stressed out, it's freedom of mind and feeling like being the leader of your life is what I'm promoting. So if you're interested in that, please contact me. And I'm wishing you a great evening or a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.